Hello everyone and welcome to this week's reviews. Norman Bridwell's beloved series of books about a gigantic dog now has a live-action film adaptation, as we follow Emily Elizabeth encountering this oversized pooch for the first time. Do they manage to translate the material in a fun way? This is Clifford, the Big Red Dog. You ever see one of those movies that's so sweet and innocent and comforting that it puts you in a good mood for the rest of the day? That's this movie. I actually don't have much nostalgia for Clifford, as I never read the books and only vaguely remember the animated show on PBS. However, I just smiled through most of the runtime. This is a really charming family film. Part of what makes it work is the bond formed between Emily Elizabeth and Clifford. I found it very touching and heartwarming, and it's clear how much this giant dog means to her. She's a sympathetic lead, and Darby Camp gives a good performance. The attempts at humor landed for me more often than not, mostly courtesy of Jack Whitehall. He plays Emily's uncle, Casey, and gets plenty of good laughs in. His American accent is rather dodgy and not particularly convincing, but I got used to it after a while. There's even a bit where Casey puts on a British accent as a wink to the audience. Between Clifford and Jungle Cruise, I've been enjoying Whitehall's presence in movies lately, and I hope to see him in more things. John Cleese also shows up in a nice role as a mysterious man who makes sure animals go to nice homes. He's even named Mr. Bridwell, which I found a sweet tribute to the creator of Clifford. The main conflict of trying to stop Clifford from being taken by an animal testing lab helps keep the story engaging, and director Walt Becker keeps the film moving at a good pace. In many ways, Clifford the Big Red Dog actually reminded me a lot of Stuart Little. It's a pleasant family film with a big heart and respect for its audience. I managed to buy that this giant red dog was stomping across the screen, and it did not take me long to get invested in the lives of the characters. If you're looking for a wholesome, charming family escapade, I think Clifford the Big Red Dog does the trick. Next up is, believe it or not, the 6th Home Alone movie, this one premiering on Disney+, Home Sweet Home Alone. At this point, the Home Alone movies have a specific formula, and that's fine. There's, after all, only so many variations on the child is left alone while dealing with burglars plot you can do. I think the important thing is if they succeed at being funny and heartwarming. Unfortunately, Home Sweet Home Alone did not quite land for me, especially in the comedy department. There were a few chortles here and there, but through most of the runtime I sat there in silence. Many of the lines said by these characters aren't all that amusing, and the slapstick especially did not work. It's a lot of falling down and getting hurt in uncomfortable places, which is to be expected. However, it all felt off. What's disappointing is that the premise of this Home Alone sequel, and yes, this is a direct sequel to the first two, had potential. While the young boy getting left home alone is an important part of the story, there's a lot more focus given to the people trying to break in. They are the actual main characters, and having it told mostly from their point of view is a promising idea. They are made to be sympathetic, which is a bit of a unique break from the Home Alone tradition, but I actually found that to be one of the biggest problems of the film. When they end up dealing with the usual booby traps common in these movies, I just felt bad for them. It's funny what happens to Marv and Harry in the first film because we're rooting for Kevin to protect his house and stop these two bandits. In this movie, when they're being pulverized and at one point getting set on fire, it's horrifying. It doesn't help that the young boy Max does not have much of a personality to latch onto. He's fairly one-dimensional and given the barest of arcs. Archie Yates was so good in Jojo Rabbit, and frankly, he deserves better material. Ditto Ellie Kemper and Rob Delaney as the couple trying to get into his house. You can tell everyone is trying really hard to get laughs out of what they're given. You also get brief appearances from actors like Pete Holmes, Andy Daly, and Chris Parnell, who don't do a whole lot. It is neat seeing Buzz McAllister again, and we even find out what Kevin ended up doing later in life. I also like the direction taken with the ending, but it's a shame we have to sit through the rest of the movie to get to it. Sadly, Home Sweet Home Alone was very underwhelming in my book. Give it a watch on Disney+, and let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching this week's reviews, and I'll see you next time.